Massive home studio tour. Just kidding. It's actually just a room that I have turned in to my studio, my mixing studio. I don't really do much recording anymore because it's kind of tight in here, and it would really probably only be comfortable for one other person to play on the keys or really put a guitar direct in. But it works for me, and my philosophy has always been work with what you have. I'm also going to be recording this video with my iPhone and the iPhone microphone, so sound quality not going to be the best, but that is something that I am considering upgrading in the future and getting a better camera just for these videos and get a microphone that goes along with that. But for now, this is what we've got, and if you'd like to help in those upgrades, all you have to do is like this video, subscribe to the channel. If I can see that it's something that people are gonna be wanting to see more of, then I can justify spending money into those types of upgrades. I enjoy making them, and I enjoy putting together tutorial videos for mixing, or kind of what I've talked about in my update video. We're going to be getting into a lot more stuff that really goes along with all of that if this is something that you want to do and build up a mixed career or any sort of engineering career that is freelance and on your own. So again, if you would like to kind of help push that along a little further and a little quicker, all you have to do is subscribe, share this video, like it, and as always, if you have anything else that you'd like to add, leave a comment. I love hearing from y'all. Alright, so let's get started on this massive home studio tour. Just kidding. So I guess we'll take a look at my desk setup here. Got the monitor there. Just upgraded to Big Sur after I read that everything that I use, Pro Tools and Luna, was compatible, along with Premiere Pro there and other Adobe products that I use. Pretty simple setup. As you can see, there's just a keyboard, got a trackball there, fader port for all of my automations, and if you're not familiar with one of these, this is an analog sound level meter. You can choose your target sound level. I usually kind of keep it around 80. Sometimes we'll go up to 90 or 70, but that's kind of like your zero out. And so when you're checking to see how loud your level is, if you're hitting 0, then you're hitting what you've calibrated it here to. And I'm not the smartest person in the world when it comes to these. I just know that I've been told the recommended settings are going to be a slow response and on a C weighting. But yeah, they have these all over eBay. They're not very expensive, but they are pretty handy. Guess we'll talk about the monitors here. These are Focal Alpha. These are the 65. I've had these a few years. I like them. They're all right. I probably will end up upgrading those next as far as any sort of gear that I'm leaning towards putting any sort of investment in. I think that having, good, decent monitors is something that you should invest in if this is something you're going to be doing, for a long time. If this is what you're aiming for as far as your career goes. And the microphone back there, that's just the Lewitt 440. Being with Produce Like a Pro Academy, you get a pretty significant discount for those. I've got a couple other microphones, we'll check those out, but this is probably the only one that I'm going to end up keeping. So spinning around this way, I've got the Yamaha MO8. Cheat sheets there because I am not a player, but I do like to play around with it every now and then, maybe add something to something I'm working on, but I will usually leave all the playing to the actual musicians. But this is a pretty cool keyboard. It's got a lot of different settings, a lot of loops in there. I mean, you could basically just write a whole song with this thing. A little record here, Radio Company. If you don't know check them out. They are pretty awesome and great sounding. Kind of a throwback 70s rock sound. Pretty mellow though, pretty melancholy. Going on over just some more acoustic treatments there. Not much to them. They were just leftover materials really from making all of these, which I've made all myself. And even these longer ones in the corner here. And the clouds, I've got 3 of those. They're pretty thin for clouds, but like I said in the beginning of this video, you work with what you have. And I didn't know about the weight issue, and I didn't really want to mess up the ceiling here. Let me see if I can get a better shot at actually how they're hooked up. It's really just some hangers from Lowe's and some zip ties, and of course just some of those rings screwed into the wood of the panel. But I spent pretty much a whole summer putting all of these together and placing them. I mean, a little bit of thought was put into how I wanted them, though I forgot these 2 up here, just to help with some of that reflection. And to always have your monitors just a little bit away from the wall there. There does tend to be a little bit of bass buildup right in here, so sometimes I'll lean up there and check, but for the most part it's not a bad sounding room. It's very dead in here. It's not very big, and then those 2 here were just to kind of offset that little indentation in the wall. But you know, I was really kind of impressed with them. So, you know, wherever the next room will be, they'll be coming with me. But anyways, back on to our tour here. Got some pretty cool photos here. At least I think they're pretty cool. We'll start with this one. That right here is my mother. This was when she was in college. This was, I think she said it was like a picture to be in the cover of something that they were doing for her sorority. I just always thought that was pretty cool and very 70s looking. And this picture was given to me from my aunt. It's a print of a drawing of Nashville skyline from the east side over the river, and I do love Nashville. Over here is pretty cool. Guess y'all know who that is, right? The King. This was actually from a photo taken at the Mid-South Coliseum. So I'm guessing it's somewhere between probably late 72, 73, or 74. But I can't remember. I would say 74. I would say this is 74, but I could be wrong about that. But I just always thought this was a really cool photo. It was a gift. And you've got Ronnie Tutt and the great James Burton. Such a cool photo. Love that. And then down here is something I acquired recently. I hate the glare. Let's see. Maybe that'll work. So this is a picture of Johnny Cash and his bandmates there, the Tennessee 2. This was taken at the Grand Ole Opry, as you can see, WSM Grand Ole Opry. And we got Roy Acuff here. And then this guy is my grandfather, Tom Hansard. He was a producer for the Grand Ole Opry and WSM. He was also an announcer and a show host for Noontime Neighbors. So really, I've always seen this photo around, but I've never really paid attention to it too much until a few years ago when my mom pointed out that was her dad. So She had this picture, you know, kind of upgraded and blown up and put in this frame for my birthday one year. So I love it. Moving along here, I've just got my business logo, Fair Air Music. You know, Fair Air Music is the name of my company. It's the name I do all my business with for my mixing services and mastering services, any sort of recording or consulting. It's all done under the Fair Air Music business name. This channel, of course, is called Beyond the Row, and I just like that name. I came up with it because, you know, we're here in Nashville, but we don't really associate with anybody on Music Row. It's kind of hard to break that inner circle, and I never really tried to. That wasn't necessarily my goal, so I just refer to everything that we do on this channel as Beyond Music Row. So Beyond the Row, there you go. Now moving on to some fun things for all of you guitar players out there. I've got a few here. It's not all of them, but it's the ones that I have here in Nashville. This is the Epiphone Riviera EA250, I believe. It has to have a little work done on it. As you can see, it needs a new nut here, which I've tried to find one for that size that just says works on all Epiphone electrics. That is not true. So yeah, I can find them, but I would have to sand them down and kind of do them myself, and I just feel like I need to find, you know, a little bit more of a professional guitar tech, but it does still play. It's definitely second hand, maybe even third or fourth hand. This one right here is the Ibanez acoustic. This belonged to my dad when he was in college, so I know it's probably a 74, 75 version. Maybe even a 73. I guess we're kind of around the same thing as the Elvis picture. But I always saw this guitar when I was a kid, and one of my favorite memories is just trying to go up to it very quietly and strum it, and then always remembering how it smelled inside. And I just fell in love with that. I'm sure there's some guitar players here that know exactly what I'm talking about. It plays super nice. There is a little issue with the G string sometimes. I can't seem to tighten it, can't seem to tune it. Kind of gets stuck unless I get like some pliers out and turn it myself. I've completely retaken everything off of the back, but it still, I don't know, still tends to do that. So if anybody out there knows of any hints on what I'm talking about and any fixes, let me know. Now here's something pretty unique. At least I think it's unique. It could be a complete fake. But this Gibson looks like something that was made in the 40s. And the person who left it with me said that he got it from his dad and that it was a vintage Gibson. I'm not completely convinced on that, even though these don't look like they I don't know. I'm not that educated on it. I thought that it was something that wasn't real because of the way that the neck is, but that's actually how those vintage guitars looked. That's how they were made. So I don't know. Of course, this all looks kind of worn and vintage, but inside, I don't know, it just doesn't look that old. But then all of this kind of looks the same as the things you see on eBay, and they may be faked too, I don't know. This looks the same. The little peg just came out of it. It wasn't electric at all. There was no pickup in there. The thing, it just came off of the little peg, just came out of there. But anyways, it's really cool sounding. Of course, I don't get to play it too much. Strings need to be, probably some new strings need to be put on there. But hopefully one day I can start playing it again and give it the love it deserves. And the last one that we've got here is quite a heavy Fender Telecaster made in Mexico. So, not super exciting. Probably end up selling this one because I just don't want it. I would rather just have one that's been you know, changed hands 4 or 5 times. I can just play it in something that's not so heavy. This thing is like over 20 pounds, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's not that heavy, but it feels really heavy. So yeah, those are the guitars. Alright, moving over to some more fun stuff. Really the brains, besides my own, of the whole operation here. Now this is a setup that its main focus is the Apollo X6 here. I love Apollo. I love Universal Audio, as you can tell in a lot of my other mixing videos. I use it all the time. I think that the converters sound better than any other ones I've owned for sure. But this is something that, you know, you can start out with and you could be making records that are having over 100,000 streams on Spotify. Like, I just can't say enough good stuff about Universal Audio and the products that they put out. Right now, I don't really do much recording with it. I do have the microphone set up to channel 1 there, and I just have this, this is the extra microphone that I just have out, you know, just in case. And we've got the Furman here, just to keep everything going. And the best feature is that you just turn on one switch. Underneath that, we do have the Art Pro VLA 2. This compressor is probably in a lot of home studios. I do not use it very much. I got this thing to just kind of see what some of the tube compressors sounded like. Of course, I have been told that to really get, you know, anything worth out of it, you would need to change them. But I mean, it's not that important to me. But I'm gonna hang on to it. It's not something I'm gonna sell. I do have it hooked up. It's on my channels 3 and 4 to come back in case I do want to use it on something. Sometimes, very rarely does it get used on anything, but if it does, sometimes I put it on the stereo bus. But I mean, I don't know. I just don't think that it's really adding. It's not taking away anything because I don't have anything else here. So until I start to add some more stuff back in, it'll stay right there. The other part of the whole nervous system that we have going on is the Mac Mini. This is the 2018 version. I've got it set on a cooling system. This is a fan because as awesome as these things are, they get super, super hot. And when that happens, it can really slow down your whole operation. So always keep a cooling system. It's just hooked up USB here along with iLok and my my external hard drives here that I've got all of my clients stuff going on that I need to keep stored. And then this is just a UA satellite that helps add more DSP power. Got the Audio-Technica 50s here, headphones, because they're just standard in my book. Well, let's see what else we got here. We got a tape player, because tape players, cassette tapes are awesome. And you can also, just like you did old school with your CD players, you can put an aux cord in here and play it anywhere. You can put it out through your system in here, or take it into your car that has an aux player, and you can listen to all your old tape cassettes in your car. I do it, so should you. So moving on down here, we've got some more stuff that I'll probably end up selling. Got a couple of microphones, some beginner microphones left. It's the Rode, what is the one everybody uses? The NT1A or something like that. And then this thing, the Slate microphone. Y'all may use this. There's nothing against it, but it's just things that I just did not need to buy. and I feel like I got suckered into some of these. But, you know, I've kind of learned like what I need in my studio and what is now just sitting collecting dust. So both of these are going to be sold. This was used quite a bit in recording, but this one not so much. So if you're interested in any of these, let me know and I'll put them on reverb right now. So this is cool. If you don't have one of these are pretty neat. The pig nose. And yes, it does look like a pig's nose. You can plug this thing up and it runs on batteries, or you can also plug it into the outlet. You've got your power here, or you can stick batteries in there. But it has a really cool sound. I've recorded it and it's on records for people, for artists who have songs out right now on Spotify. It is pretty cool. There's one knob. That's it. Some and more. But it's really cool. Very narrow sounding, very distorted sounding. Super cool. Something else to add. You can also route your vocals through this and get a cool effect. And you just mic it up. Or you can go out with it. But that's pretty cool. I like that. That'll be around. That will be sold. Some tools. Cutting strings and trying to tune the G string on the Ibanez. And let's see, just some headphone extensions for when I was recording bands and drummers. We have them in different areas, different rooms, but everything was centered around an interface. So we would have to run these out longer. It's just always good to have a couple of extra of those. Another tape player that's cool for lots of different things. You know, just getting a tape effect, and or just playing some old records. You can do a lot of stuff with that. Got some more mics here, I'm sure. Let's see, this is going to be the other Slate microphone. That'll be going for sale as well with the larger one. We've got, oh, I also use SonarWorks. This is the microphone that comes with that. So we'll hang on to that one. What is this? Okay, so you always have to have one of these with you, right? The SM57. This one I actually won. This we were having a mixing competition at the school that I went to for mixing, music production, music business. And out of my whole class, I won first place. And this was the prize. So this was my first microphone. Well, it was my first decent microphone anyways. So I'm very proud of it. So I will always be keeping this one. And, you know, is it even a studio if you don't have an SM57? I don't know. You tell me. All right, and so this is just an extra bag for tools. We've got some string cutters, wire cutters, some pins, some other little knickknacks, some batteries, screwdriver. Let's see, nothing too, oh, some Allen wrenches, different sizes. Those are pretty handy in a studio. And let's see what else we have. We've got a couple other microphones, just some pretty standard stuff. But these are very, very cheap, but we used these as overheads and they work just fine. Got a couple of different switches here that kind of help with low end and getting your sound right. Also come with some little covers there to help mute it. Some of those harshy sounds that overheads pick up. and just a couple of other, or you can hook them up to these, do your XYs, and some other hooks there. Now, last but not least, this looks like the case that the Slate microphone came in, but I don't think I have that. Yep, here we go. Another one I'll be keeping, which is another studio standard, is the Shure Beta 52. Right there, 52A. And yeah, kick drum mic. But I saw a video a couple years ago, I think it was on Instagram maybe, and they were singing into this thing. And I was just like, wow, I'm impressed that you're singing into that microphone. And I thought that was kind of funny. They were like, well, it was just laying around and we thought we were making a video. So, yeah. Whatever you have. I'm gonna stick to using it for kick drum. Although, we did record a bass cabinet with that. So, you know, serves many purposes, I guess. So that kind of concludes our gear portion of the home studio tour, but I don't want a lot of gear. I've already sold a whole bunch of it, and this is sort of like the little things that I've got left, and I'm gonna end up selling it as well. Now, there are a couple of pieces that I would really like to have, but I'm still kind of doing research on that, and they're pretty expensive. It has to be something that is going to elevate the worth of what I'm trying to put out. As far as mixing services go, as far as just in building my business and sort of brand, because, you know, we're not just selling a service, we're selling ourselves, and when we're building a business and when we work for ourselves. But the last little thing about this is I built this. This wasn't very hard. This is just, this is a piece of, I guess it's just plywood. Pretty sturdy stuff though. These come like that. This was a third one. You buy them individually, and this one was cut, and I just used some more wood, some more like pieces here, I guess, and this is like a 1x4 maybe, because I wanted that look on the top. So those are just a few of them, 5 of them. So the kind of the base here is 3 pieces, and then these just over the top screwed in. Something, you know, homemade. Why not? Those things are super expensive, and for no reason. Like, the expensive stuff goes in it, and this is super sturdy. And then these things, they sell those at Sweetwater. You just kind of, you know, make sure that you're, you know, adding the right measurements in, and it's really not that big of a deal. Get you some clamps to hold the sides, the ends together while you're screwing everything. And voila, there you go. You don't need to spend $400 on the cheapest one that they have. So there you have it. Massive home studio tour, right? I'm a firm believer in that you don't need anything massive to make great sounding mixes. And I hope this encourages you to kind of realize that. And, you know, if you've got some stuff laying around that you're not using, don't be afraid to just go ahead and sell that. Focus on something that you know that is really going to bring that added value to the service that you're providing. This isn't a message about not spending money. It's also not a message about not having a lot of stuff. It's just something that I have found that I've benefited from, so I'm sharing that information with you. And I'll make sure that we have some videos that really kind of drive that point home and pinpoint other little things that can help you with, you know, productivity and having that minimalistic approach that you don't feel overwhelmed with any sort of debt or just accumulating stuff that you want to incorporate in your mixes, but you don't really need it, but your mind kind of tells you, well, you paid money for this, so you should use it. And then it just becomes this thing about, well, I got the latest plugins, or I haven't used this one in a while, so I should probably use that. Or so-and-so had a video and it was telling me, like, my mixes will sound like they're radio ready if I have this. We have to kind of focus on what we think will make our mixes sound the best, and that takes research. That takes listening to a lot of music. That takes reading about a lot of music. That takes paying attention to kind of what's happening in music and where the sound's going. It's not just because a company came out with a new plugin or a new piece of gear. We kind of need to find our own niche in that. So this is my sort of minimalistic studio. I feel like it's all in here instead of there. Hope you found something valuable in this video. I hope you enjoyed our little tour of our massive home studio. If you did like this video, give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. That really helps the channel out, which helps me out, which helps the quality of the videos out. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. We'll talk again soon.